My name is Daniel Cross, 39 years old, former Chief Technology Officer and co-founder of Halcyon Tech Solutions, a high-end software firm specializing in AI-driven infrastructure security. Or at least I was, until the day my cousin Aaron and my uncle Henry decided I was no longer aligned with the company's future vision. It didn't happen overnight. It began with small slights. Meetings rescheduled without me, projects reassigned, responsibilities quietly stripped away. I had co-founded Halcyon Tech a decade ago with Henry, my mother's younger brother, and built the architecture for every single one of our flagship products. In the beginning, Henry trusted me. When I graduated from Stanford, he handed me an opportunity most fresh grads only dreamed of: full creative freedom to build tech that mattered. We started in a single-room warehouse with nothing but borrowed servers and promises to our first client. 10 years later, we had a valuation north of $300 million, contracts with the Department of Energy, and a board of directors filled with venture capitalists eager to cash in. But success changes people, or maybe it just reveals who they always were. Henry grew addicted. Aaron, his golden boy son, wanted more. More influence, more recognition, more control. He wasn't a tech mind like me. He was a finance guy, polished and ruthless, with a Wharton MBA and a smile that hid a knife. When Aaron joined Halcyon 3 years ago, I welcomed him. Family, right? By the time I realized my mistake, it was too late. It happened on a Tuesday morning. I was called into a special strategy meeting on the 34th floor, the executive boardroom with the panoramic city views. When I walked in, Henry was at the head of the table. Aaron sat to his right. Beside them, our head of legal, Marissa Clay. A printed envelope sat at Henry's fingertips. "Daniel," Henry began, not meeting my eyes, "we've been reviewing our strategic goals. The board feels the company needs leadership that's more adaptable to future markets." Adaptable. Corporate code for replaceable. He slid the envelope toward me. Severance package, termination letter. Mutual NDA, effective immediately. I should have been furious. Instead, I felt. He smiled slightly, like a man watching a chess move land exactly where he planned it months ago. "You'll receive full benefits through the end of the quarter," Marissa added briskly. "And, of course, stock options vested up to this date." I nodded once. No theatrics. No begging. Just the end of a decade of my life, signed away in 3 pieces of paper. What they didn't know, for the past year I'd been quietly developing a side project, Sentinel Zero, a revolutionary adaptive AI system for dynamic network security. Halcyon had deemed it too experimental during our last R&D review. Aaron had called it a waste of resources in a memo I'd seen by accident, so I'd taken it underground. Nights, weekends, spare servers hidden behind maintenance labels. I built Sentinel Zero piece by piece, refining the code, designing the hardware blueprint, perfecting the training protocols. I knew they'd come for me eventually, and I refused to leave empty-handed. The first thing I did after leaving Halcyon was call Lee Burns, my former second-in-command, who had quit 6 months earlier when Aaron tried to force her into falsifying testing reports. She answered on the first ring. "I'm in," she said, before I even explained. "Good," I replied. "Because we're going to burn them to the ground." We founded Vanguard Systems 2 weeks later in a rented office in downtown Oakland. Tiny, ugly carpet, flickering lights, perfect. We didn't announce ourselves. Instead, we let our technology speak. We offered Sentinel Zero to a select handful of clients, companies Halcyon had neglected. Clients furious over buggy software updates rushed out under Aaron's leadership. Within 90 days, we had our first $2 million in contracts. By month 4, it was $10 million. All word of mouth. All because Sentinel Zero worked. Meanwhile, Halcyon was rotting from the inside. I still had friends inside. Buggy rollouts. Missed deadlines. Lawsuits over breached contracts. Morale was collapsing. Aaron was scrambling to blame middle management, but insiders knew the truth. Halcyon's foundation was crumbling because the architect was gone. And then it got worse. One rainy Thursday afternoon, I got an encrypted email from Simon Park, one of Halcyon's senior engineers. He attached a confidential memo. Halcyon intends to file a lawsuit against Vanguard for IP infringement. Of course, they knew they couldn't compete, so they wanted to crush me legally. Classic Aaron. Smear me, intimidate me. But again, they underestimated me. I had proof. I kept every email, every timestamp design document, every R&D submission showing that Halcyon had rejected Sentinel-0 before I left. Under California law, if a company formally rejects your innovation, they lose claim to it unless there's a specific rights assignment. And mine had expired 6 months before they fired me. Their case was dead on arrival. I called Lee. "Ready to go nuclear?" I asked. She laughed. I was born ready. We filed a preemptive lawsuit, claiming ownership of Sentinel-0, suing Halcyon for defamation and tortious interference, alleging fraud against Aaron for falsifying board communications about my termination. It was aggressive, risky, and exactly what we needed. The lawsuit hit the press like a grenade. Tech blogs exploded. LinkedIn was flooded with speculation. Former Halcyon employees leaked horror stories about Aaron's leadership. Investors panicked. Halcyon's board forced Henry to step down within a month. Aaron was placed on indefinite leave. Their stock price plummeted 19% in a single day. Meanwhile, Vanguard boomed. Government contracts, Fortune 500 partnerships, security conferences where I was the keynote speaker. My name, Daniel Cross, became synonymous with innovation and resilience. 6 months after the lawsuit, Halcyon approached me with a settlement offer. 7 figures, a public apology, full control of Sentinel-0 confirmed. I rejected it. Instead, I counteroffered, sell me the Halcyon brand, complete acquisition, or I'll bleed you dry in court. They caved. For pennies on the dollar, Vanguard Systems acquired Halcyon Tech Solutions. Every server, every patent, every building. And I walked back into the same 34th floor boardroom where they had once handed me my termination papers. This time I stood at the head of the table. Aaron was long gone. Henry sent me a pitiful email congratulating me on my success. I didn't respond. Today, Vanguard Systems is a billion-dollar company. Sentinel-0 is deployed in over 30 countries, protecting vital infrastructure. Sometimes I sit in the old Halcyon boardroom late at night, staring at the skyline. I think about loyalty, family, betrayal, and how sometimes the people who know you best are the ones most capable of hurting you and most vulnerable when they underestimate what you're willing to become. I don't hate Aaron anymore. I barely think about him. They tried to erase me. Instead, they made me inevitable. Because the truth is simple. You don't betray a builder without expecting them to build something bigger. And when you do, you'd better pray you're not standing in the ruins when they return.